The biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You ever been up to the Jimi Hendrix Museum up in Seattle, JJ?
I have not had a chance. I assume you have. You're from there.
It's a not miss. Well, you can't miss it because it's a wildly designed building that is just beneath the Space Needle. And the Space Needle, I mean, you picture Seattle.
I've walked by the Space Needle.
So
it's didn't notice.
Seattle Center, which is like removed from where the public market is and removed from where like downtown is.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So right next to, well, it used to be Key Arena. I don't know what the heck it is now. It's like Save the Environment. No, it really is. It's like
it's the most tree hugger sounding
Climate Pledge Arena.
That's right. It's Climate Pledge Arena. That is so Seattle.
Which is where I walked for my high school graduation. You know
that's the most Seattle name for an arena ever.
Yeah. Hey, Climate Pledge Arena is where the Kraken play their games. But right next to it is the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's pretty dang cool. Yeah, I would recommend it for you because you're a music guy.
I walked by there just a couple summers ago.
It's that building that's like the really wavy, purpley, greenish. It's a fever dream made into a building.
There's a bunch of cool radio. There's like all the radio stations over there too.
Oh yeah,
I've noticed they have their offices there.
107.7 The End.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Oh man, that was the alternative station when I was growing up. At least I think it's still there. All right, JJ, we got to jump into this portion of the program. It's at top of the hour here for us. We're going to get into it. I say get into it like we're going to fight him, but Bill Bender, he writes for the Sporting News, and he covers college football. He does an awesome job, and he joins the program with us every week. And so let's dive in here, and let's get going with the cut, and we'll officially start the hour off.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
That just made me sad reminiscing about seeing the Sonics.
Now your mood's going to change.
Well, I've
just reminded you of a very painful memory.
Listen,
from your youth.
Watching the Sonics play in that building and then walking there for my high school graduation and then having it all ripped from me. The Sonics are gone, but you know what's cool though is the Kraken play there now. So it's at least they're keeping the building going. It's all awesome. By the way, the cut brought to you this hour by Trajan Wealth. TrajanWealth.com, your trusted local needs in retirement with a financial fiduciary. Just go to their website, TrajanWealth.com. Bill Bender joins us on the program as he does periodically. We love having him on. College football writer for the Sporting News. Bill, when it all shook out, what were your thoughts on the college football playoff?
I mean, I don't have my take isn't all that popular. I think it's absurd that Notre Dame's not in. I mean, when I was doing our final college football playoff projection on Saturday evening, I mean, my debate in my head wasn't Notre Dame and either one of those schools. It was Notre Dame or it was Alabama and Miami. You know, they can't justify putting Notre Dame, Miami back to back and saying this is why we put Miami because you had Notre Dame ahead of them the whole month. The committee boxed themselves into a corner. And quite frankly, Alabama didn't look like a team that was a playoff team. And I know they went to a conference championship game, but you don't get extra credit for failing the test.
No doubt. And now everyone's speculating, well, the ESPN and the SEC, there's business interest in this, right? Why did Alabama not drop a spot when they lost a championship game? BYU dropped a spot for losing to Texas Tech. What's really the difference here? How much of that do you buy into?
Not the network part of it. I don't think the TV networks they might campaign on TV a little bit, but I don't think they influence the decision in the room. You know, I think it's fairly obvious that ESPN has some campaigning for the SEC, much like Fox campaigns for the Big Ten and Big 12 a little bit. And, you know, one thing that I think Notre Dame had an absolute right to be upset about was the running the game for 48 straight hours. I don't think the Big Ten Network would ever do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was last year. It was it was a coup that it was only 3 SEC teams in now, and then you get 5 from the SEC, and around here everybody felt like BYU got ripped off, and they loved putting up the metrics, and I was like, stop putting the metrics up because they obviously don't lean on those like they do a net rating, for example, in the NCAA tournament. Like, we need to stop trying to pretend like they were really living off of those things.
Sometimes they kept BYU out of those graphics, and they finally put them in there like, wait a minute, their numbers are better than Miami's.
What were your thoughts on BYU at the very end?
Well, I mean, they faced an uphill battle, too. I mean, they obviously got routed by Texas Tech. And, it was an interesting stat this week. I got to give my editor credit for this when we were on a pod. And there's only one team in the country that's won 10 or more games in the regular season each of the last 2 years and been left out of the playoff, and it's BYU. I found that a very interesting stat. So if anybody should be complaining about this process and how it works and how the regular season value changes and playing in a conference championship game this week, it's probably the BYU Cougars.
Yeah, and I think they're frustrated, but they haven't handled it the same way as Notre Dame. Now, I agree with you. I think the way they handled Notre Dame was strange, and I do believe that they kind of got screwed there. But what do you think about the way Notre Dame has handled their business since opting out of the bowl game, basically throwing a tantrum? Does that rub you wrong, or do you think that they're justified in the way they've been handling the situation after the fact?
I don't mind it, but it has to have a purpose. So if they don't want to play, I'm going to give you a very bad non-answer here. So, or at least a political one. I get what they're doing. Like, hey, you can have your Pop-Tarts Bowl, whatever. We'll sit this one out, and it's kind of like an informal, formal protest of sorts, and saying, we're not going to play on ESPN. And that's part of it. There are kids that probably wanted to put the pads on one more time. It does disregard them, or maybe they're not. Maybe some of those guys were like, yeah, we're not doing that. But that's also part of it. It is putting some disrespect toward the bowl system. I don't know if they've handled that the right way, but there are other teams sitting out the bowl season as well. I just think, here is my thought on the entire thing. I wish they would have left Alabama out so we could have had a broader, better discussion about the value of conference championship games and how we're going to do this and whether we should do them, because now we have license to continue these conference championship games. And I think every season we have them, it's going to create this little, well, do we really have the best teams in? And I don't want to hear that Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference argument when you crown a 5-loss conference champion like the ACC did last weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Well, at least they had a safety net to make sure that those 7-5 teams can't play in the college football playoff. But
it does create a massive problem, guys.
The ACC's got to figure it out, man. They got to figure that thing out.
By these teams playing in a conference championship game, it's another opportunity to lose a game, which hurts your resume. If BYU hadn't played in and lost the Big 12 championship game at 11-1, do they them out? I mean, what are teams' incentives? What are their incentives, Bill, for playing in these games if if there's a 50-50 chance it's going to hurt them?
Or if it's only going to benefit the SEC.
Right.
I mean, let's cut to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't benefit the Big 12 loser. It hasn't benefited the Big 12 loser each of the last 2 years. It's not going to – the Big 10, I don't think it'll ever – there'll probably be a year where it does, but I think in most cases the Big Ten championship game is as entertaining and fun as that was. Both of those teams are going to the playoff most years.
Right.
Just because of the way the conference is situated with the imbalanced schedules. And that leaves the ACC, which we saw what happens when you have disaster hour with tiebreakers. So all of those things are in question. I'm one of those guys, and I don't know if I've said it on your show, and bear with me if I have. I don't need them. I could do 16 teams, no automatic berths. Let's just play it right. Let's start maybe next weekend. We'll give them a week off, play the first 2 rounds on campus, and go from there.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of all shocked here when Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, came out and said, I love the 5+11 model. And we were like, okay. I don't think that was the right move because it still – puts too many decisions in, like the at-large 11.
The less the committee's involved, the better.
It's just the at-large 11 is tough, and so that's going to be a weird thing. Hey, I wanted to. I mean, the details have gotten more and more weird as this Sherrone Moore firing at Michigan has kind of taken shape, and it sounds like it's just a massively. I mean, it's a very complicated situation. We do know that he's not going to be the coach there. He was fired for cause. From the actual football standpoint, how on earth does Michigan approach this, who would even be available at this point that would be the caliber of a coach that could go to Michigan right now during maybe the worst time to try to hire a person?
Well, exactly. Well, I'll start on the Sherrone thing. I don't want to speculate. You know, when you hear the phrase inappropriate relationship and everything that's resulted from that, it's an ugly situation. And I'm honestly glad it's not more serious and more people weren't hurt, you know what I mean, than what happened. So, you know, the thoughts with the families there. Football-wise, here's the thing. I think the name that you're hearing over and over again is Kalen DeBoer, which here we go again. It's like Lane Kiffin Part 2. No. What if – I think there should be interest. I think that when Harbaugh left 2 years ago, Kalen DeBoer was the best fit for the job then. They tried to continue the Harbaugh era with Sherrone, backfired. They need to make a clean break from that. They can't hire Jesse Minter. They've got to hire somebody. You know, the two names that will be the most popular and I think are best fits are Kalen DeBoer and Brian Kelly, believe it or not. Brian Kelly knows he's coached, even if it's not a great hire, he's coached at two major programs where they have the expectations that they do, like Michigan does. So and he's won 10 or more games a lot of times. So maybe he's the guy. If they can't get those two, I think they would look at a Jed Fish. At Washington, who coached at Michigan. I think they would look at, I mean, like you said, because we're so late in the cycle, that could mean Dan Mullen. A guy like Dan Mullen, if he wants to coach in the Big Ten. He's done a very nice job at UNLV in his first season, and I just can't picture him coaching at UNLV forever.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can. That was kind of a bounce back, right?
Well,
it's crazy. You're right. There's not like that slam dunk name out there, unless they can go get Kalen DeBoer and pry him away. Would DeBoer be that unhappy at Alabama with the pressure and the expectations that he's been having to deal with there the last 2 years, following a legend? I don't know.
Well, we'll find out maybe after Friday night next week.
There you go.
If they get hammered at Oklahoma. I mean, they were ready to fire him after the Florida State game. That was very real.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe not the people that actually make those decisions from what I've heard, but the fans wanted him gone. We've seen all the clips. And then their season reversed on the Georgia game and now kind of reversed back a little bit because they have not looked good in their last 3 to 4 games. So, you know, maybe that's the clean break for Kalen DeBoer if he wants it. It would have to start with him wanting interest. And could you imagine if during the playoff Alabama loses and then they have a coach leave while we're trying to watch the playoff?
My goodness.
It would be a wild scene. But I'm not the only one putting that name out there. So that means that would be something that they would do. And I did see, it's worth noting that Ross Dellinger reported a little bit ago that it sounds like, you know, that Michigan's not going to fire Ward Manuel, that he will be the athletic director. He'll help lead this coaching search. And, you know, I'll say this about Ward, whatever you want to criticize him now, he did make the right men's basketball hire because Dusty May's crushing it.
They're going.
No doubt.
Yeah,
that guy got to a Final Four with a team that never been there for a reason. He's a good coach.
Bill Bender joining us from Sporting News. The news that hit us, obviously pretty close to home because the University of Utah made the decision that they did with their private equity deal, expected to generate or infuse the program with up to $500 million. We all tried to wrap our head around it. The consensus was, despite the fact that no one knows actually how it's going to work going forward, it's either the worst thing on the planet or it's the best thing. How do you see it?
Well, I mean, we'll see. Honestly, I don't know enough. You know, this could go either way with private equity deals and programs. So I hate to, again, give you kind of a non-answer there. But, you know, it's a big money game, and you got to spend to make money. And, you know, the program in your conference, and I was down at the Nagurski Award on Monday and around Jacob Rodriguez a little bit. There's no question. They're wearing that, like, you could go both ways with it. You could say, well, Texas Tech bought this team. Well, kind of the game right now. You know, Ohio State had that $35 or $40 million price tag dragged around its name all year last year, and it's fine. There's not one person in Columbus that's talked about it since because they won the national championship.
You wrote about the Heisman Trophy finalists and the pros and cons of each. It's an interesting field. There's not that superstar, that sure thing where, we've had the last few years with incredible quarterback play or the unicorn Travis Hunter, and even that last year could have been debated. How do you view this race, and what are the pros and cons for each four of those guys?
Well, I think, Mendoza and Pavia will probably, I voted, and I'm not allowed to say who I voted for, but, we can break it down. They'll probably be the top two. I think Mendoza had the best collection of Heisman moments. He really did. Not a lot of 300-yard games, just one. Pavia led the country, or led these guys in total offense. Electric player, 10 wins, had those 2 losses, but he's the heart. If you're talking about most valuable player to his team, he's probably that guy.
Yeah.
I think Julian's saying he's going to have a hard time winning it because of the recency bias of last weekend, but he's the same guy who was really good at the Michigan game that I was at the week before. And then Jeremiah Love's probably the best football player of the 4 of them. An outstanding running back at Notre Dame, played well in the big games, had that slow start though. Against Texas A&M and Miami, and it's just hard for running backs to win the Heisman Trophy anymore. So I think it'll be either Mendoza or Pavia. I mean, the betting odds say Mendoza by a lot, but I guess I'm wondering what that vote actually looks like.
Yeah, JJ's a voter too, so you guys are both way lame not releasing your stuff over the air. I know it'd get you in trouble, but look at you guys, big time in me over here. We got to watch this thing.
Men of integrity, Alex. Don't tempt us. Don't tempt us.
No, but, I mean, was it I don't know what this looks like. Like, every year is different. And people generally are saying that this is a weak Heisman class. I don't know if there's such a thing, like, in the 2025 college football. These guys are freaking good.
Yeah, it's a fun class. I'm a little bit surprised Rodriguez didn't get invited, too. The Texas Tech. I mean, look at all these defensive awards he's really in.
Just got an email.
Week.
He finished 5th.
So why not invite him at that point?
Agree.
Yeah,
because what did they do? They invited 4. Is that what they did?
Correct.
Yeah, he deserved that. He was a fantastic player. Heart of that defense. It gives the Big 12 a guy there too. Like, there would have been no harm in doing that. I got some time around his family while I was down in Charlotte Monday, and his father Joe and mother Ann are like, seriously, I'm not exaggerating, the nicest people in the world. And you want to root for kids like that. And, he obviously was a big piece of that nasty Texas Tech defense. And as you guys saw on the TV, man, they had a lot of people at that Big 12 championship
they showed
game.
up.
So
they did.
They did, and it makes it – here's the game that I am most interested in this entire college football playoff bracket is I do think Oregon-Texas Tech would be just a fun watch.
Agree.
If Texas Tech could beat them, and that Oregon team's being undervalued a little bit with Dan Lanning. So that's going to be a fun matchup.
Yeah, it is an intrigue. There are intriguing matchups, and then we said the same thing about intriguing matchups last year, and there were so many dadgum blowouts. Like, in the end, it's like, we can't get this thing perfect, and I know it's an imperfect system, but, it's unfortunate when you get to this, we start chatting so much about what these games are going to break down to, and I just want these to be competitive games. I don't want to have the blowouts that we've seen in some of these front end of the – and maybe Tulane and JMU are so far out of their league that those are going to be the blowouts. But, you want the teams that everybody – and, watch Alabama win 2 games because that's just the way this thing works. And it's just, it's crazy like that.
Well,
so.
You bring up an interesting point because, again, the pushback I'm getting from my buddies, and I have buddies that like Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan State, and they're like, well, why are there 2 Group of 5 teams in? I said, well, read playoff first, guys. And then but the idea that James Madison and Tulane are in there, and I think they're on the spot in a different way. Like, they don't have to win, but they have to compete in these games.
Yeah,
otherwise, that's going to be what everybody sits around and says. Why is Tulane in this game? We already watched them lose by 35. Their coach isn't even going to be there. Why is James Madison in this game? It's a Sun Belt team. How are they playing Oregon when we could be watching like Texas and Oregon? So I do think they're on the spot because that'll be a larger question about should 5 teams be in, and it's maybe not necessarily fair to them because you want to have the entire enterprise work, but you guys know that's what we do. That's what we did all the first round last year. We complained about these blowouts.
Yeah, well, I think that if we could dip into the future 50 years, I don't think that we're gonna go into the future and in 50 years they'll be like, and finally, when the system became perfect back in 2035. Like, that's not going to happen. There's going to be complaints every year. I mean, that's basketball, right? And so there's going to be stuff every year that's going to be imperfect. But, we just hope for the best matchup. So, Bill Bender, college football writer for Sporting News. Thanks for joining us, Bill. We always appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me on. You guys have a great weekend.
You too,
appreciate
Bill.
it.
There you go. I just love getting the outside perspective because we can get caught up in this little dome here and just talk ourselves in circles and be like, everybody got ripped off in the Big 12. Hey, what did that Alabama lady say when everything was when they lost to Florida State?
He's got it.
So if you won the big Powerball jackpot.
I'll tell you exactly what I'd do with the first $70 million. I'd pay off Kalen DeBoer and get him the heck out of the University of Alabama, and then I'd take whatever else it took to get rid of the AD. Old Byrne, I don't like him either. So they're ruining our football program.
She turned a lottery man on the street in
Turns out she didn't have to win the lottery. She might get her wish anyway.
She turned a man on the street, and this poor reporter who's probably from Utah, and her first market is down there in
she doesn't
small
even know
town
what
Alabama.
she's talking about.
So if you win the Powerball, like, what would that be like? I'll tell you exactly what I'd do. I was waiting for a pause where she took a drag off of her Virginia Slim. I'd fire old Byrne. That guy, I hate him. Like, listen, my grandma sounded exactly like that lady, and she smoked all day long every day for 84 years. That lady is a national treasure. That Alabama fan. And you know what? She predicted they're ruining our football program. And then imagine the microphone coming away from her from the TV lady, and she's like, "Oh, okay, thank you." Like, geez, you're not going to buy a house for your kids? Come on.
Some charity you could give to? No.
Wild. Okay. All right, we'll take a break. When we do, we'll come back with some NFL Blitz action, and we're going to get you ready for this Falcons-Buccaneers game tonight. Hey, that's NFC South action right there. Let's get it going. Stay right here with us, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. NFL Blitz is that music in the background, of course, the NFL music. Sam Spence, the classic music, of course, of my childhood watching football on TV. The highlights, the slow motion of that NFL films, man. Steve Sable, what's his dad's name? The guy who actually started NFL Films. But Steve Sable, like, that was the face I always saw. You know what I mean?
It was Ed Sable.
Ed Sable was the guy who started it all.
Yes,
but
yes,
Steve was the recognizable.
1962 is when they started.
Steve was the recognizable face and voice of, like, when they do that little stand-up intro and all that stuff. As classic.
Yeah, he was the front man for.
May they both rest.
All of them. Yeah, unfortunately, he's gone as well.
Thursday Night Football, Falcons at Buccaneers tonight. I am worried about this team. I'm worried about we've been worried about the Falcons. We've kind of put them to bed, to be honest. They got housed like Dylan's Burger got housed.
Give me that.
They got housed like by the Seahawks this last weekend. Was it the Seahawks? Yeah. Because your Rams, who did they crush? The Cardinals. That was fun.
No, the Falcons stink.
The Falcons are no good, and they
4-9.
It's crazy. So the Buccaneers, though, what did this all shake out to for Baker Mayfield? They've been equally unimpressive the last stretch.
They are struggling. They started the season, if you'll remember, 5-1. Then they got to 6-2. Since then, they are 1-4 with losses to the Patriots, the Bills, the Rams, and the latest one was the Saints. They only beat the Cardinals by 3 points. November was brutal for them, and it started even worse in December, losing to the Saints at home. They lost to the Saints in Tampa. This team is reeling right now. They are not playing well.
I just wonder, and tonight they have to get this. Is this in Tampa? Is it at the Buccaneers?
It's in Tampa. They're playing. They're hosting the Falcons. And they have to get this because they have 2 games coming up still with the Carolina Panthers.
Hey, speaking of the Carolina Panthers, I can't tell. The thing was, I read this article and I was like, I couldn't tell because I didn't hear the actual audio, and I couldn't tell. Like in my mind, this would have been a facetious thing, but I don't think that these guys work in facetious moments. But Cam Newton on his podcast called the Colts' failure to call him a slap in his face.
Come on, bro.
Now look, I would say Newton. By the way, I was at that F1 race in Vegas, and Cam Newton sat like 4.5 feet from me because we snuck into the VIP area, and he had his signature giant friggin' hat on, and he was chewing on a cigar, and he holds court, man. He holds court, and he's a big dude, and he's loud, and he's funny, and people like to be around him. And I'll tell you right now, he looked like he was in friggin' shape too.
Yeah, you see him on TV. He's on First Take and different things, and he's got his podcast going on. He has not played since 2021, and when he left the league, he was not playing at a high level.
Yeah, but Rivers was playing in 2020. That was his last year. He technically had the front of the line.
Philip Rivers took the Colts to the playoffs in 2020. Cam did not do that with the Panthers in 2021. Cam is 8 years younger than Philip Rivers.
Yeah, but how many MVPs did Philip Rivers win?
Not as many as Cam.
0. That's what he's thinking too.
So I get that.
I'm younger.
Look,
I'm in shape. I'm a former MVP. All those things, and
he's always been an extreme competitor. The dude has all the confidence in the world, and I appreciate that about him. That he would be upset that they're going to call Philip Rivers. I'm 8 years younger. You're not going to call me up.
He was mad because the Colts also tried out Seth Hennigan, an undrafted free agent from this season, along with Rivers. Hennigan, he was like, never even heard of the dude.
That's funny.
Oh, that's sad. That's bad.
After the 2018 season, when Cam threw 24 touchdowns, he had a decent year, 3,300 yards for the Panthers.
How many picks?
That year, 13.
That's not a good ratio.
After that, he only threw 12 touchdown passes in 3 years.
Whoa!
And had 16 interceptions. So Cam hit 30 and he dropped off a cliff. I don't know why, but he did. It didn't go. He played 15 games, started 15 games for the Patriots in 2020. Only had 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for a team that wasn't very good. 7-9. But the idea that
I love that we're even talking about this. Well, I don't know. Compare their numbers.
I'm showing you right now.
2 old chubby guys haven't played in a while.
If you want to know why Cam, 8 years younger than Philip Rivers, isn't getting the call. He didn't play for the Colts. He didn't play for their system. But he also, towards the end of his career, really struggled. So Philip Rivers can at least brag. My last year in the league, we were good.
Yeah, for sure.
I produced.
Joe Burrow, at his weekly press conference, said that his priority is to, quote, have fun playing.
Joe Burrow says the funniest things.
He does.
Joe Burrow is the biggest I don't give a you-know-what dude I've ever seen in the NFL at that position. Like, he does not care. Now, I believe he does care, but he comes off as not caring. And he's a different cat.
And I appreciate it because he's also a talent. Mm-hmm. I just wish the rest of his team was. You know?
Well, they got to go out and rebuild their defense.
That's terrible.
When they went to the Super Bowl, that defense was awesome.
All that hullabaloo about Hendrickson, and, like, he's going to end up leaving anyway. Like, and they're going to have nothing.
They just put him on the IR, right?
Yeah. And he's going to be it's not.
Yeah, they're going to have to rebuild that defense. They've got the offense locked in. They got all those guys locked in. Through the draft, they're going to have to rebuild their O-line in that defense, and they can be a factor again because Joe Burrow and those receivers are as good as it gets in the league. Joe Burrow, when healthy, is top 5, maybe top 3.
The old when healthy.
That's Joe Burrow, problem for him.
It's like Joe Burrow, parentheses, ankle. He's great.
He's 29 now. So if this continues of him getting hurt every year at this age, you're kind of like, okay, how long can this last?
I love it. At this age, get out of here. I know. In football years.
I just got done talking about Cam Newton, who was an MVP.
I know.
When did his big drop come? Age 30.
Yeah, I mean, they always say the same thing about running backs too, right? It's kind of around that same time, 28, 29, 30. I mean, they're old men at that point. That's what they're kind of.
In the NFL, they are.
Yeah, that's what they say. It's always funny to watch that, and they're like, yeah, and at 31 years old, he's the most veteran guy on this team. And you're like, what? Okay. Crazy. Okay, let's take another break here. We'll come back. Hans and Scotty, by the way, tomorrow are going to be down in Nephi. Bar W has The Grill.
I've been there. It's good.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you guys, was it on your way down to Vegas?
Yeah. No, my youngest, Jack, had a baseball tournament down there a few weekends ago. And after the game, we hit because obviously they work with us, and I want to try it out. So I got a shot. They have a great menu. And then afterwards, you can go get dessert.
Let's go.
They got full ice cream, the donuts, all that stuff, pastries.
Hans and Scotty are going to be there. Stop talking about food, my guy.
The quality of the beef. The quality of the beef.
That's the point, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That burger I had is all of them are third pound. No, are they half pound or three? They're anyway high quality.
Every burger starts at 1.5 pounds of beef.
This is not like some of the fast food restaurants you go to where you have to look inside the bun to see if you can find the meat.
Napolis, he's not getting paid for this, right?
Maybe I should be.
This guy. Settle down on the grill, dude. We can't get down there.
You mentioned it. I said I'll wait.
We can't go because they're going to be there, and then our show starts right after. I can't get back up here from Nephi.
Our viewers needed to hear an outside voice outside of Hans and Scotty.
There you go.
How it is. It's worth it.
1 to 3 tomorrow, 2264 Main Street in Nephi. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Best and worst. The worst continues to be, I mean, just as a ongoing situation. We're trying to find out more about this Sherrone Moore deal. It is just becoming more and more complicated. It is, to say the least, sordid. It is
you can
nasty.
Just Google. We won't get into it because there's just a lot of stuff that we don't know if it's true or not yet. But
it's straight out
horrible.
It's straight out of a fictional.
Sounds like a
it's
weird,
a total movie,
like a Friday Night Lights or a Varsity Blues type situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like sports movie turns into
something really intense,
dramatic, and tough to watch.
Yeah, and that's this. I mean, I guess all the details and the allegations they'll have to figure it all out. But
he's supposed to be in court on Friday.
Arraigned on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he'll probably. Well, the question is do you let that guy out on bail? Probably not.
I don't know.
I don't know how it's going to work, but messy situation. Sorry to hit you with that, everybody. Jeez. Brought to you by the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Here's your best and worst. The Thunder are now 24-1 on the season. Is that a good start? I can't.
Yeah,
Bill, is that a good start? I can't see too well. I just want to know. Like what this team is.
Why'd they lose one game?
That is like the most.
Come on, guys.
You know how beat writers are. I feel like that there are beat writers who will write that kind of stuff. Although the concerning loss to the fill in the blank team still raises eyebrows, right? We know what that headline could look like.
Yep.
No, but they.
Can you tell me who beat them?
Absolutely not.
You'd never guess.
Charlotte Hornets.
No, but it's not a good team.
Am I warm? Like in geography?
It's in the West.
Oh, it's in the West.
It was on the road. It was a fellow divisional opponent.
Okay.
Not the Jazz.
You mean in our Northwest Division?
Yes, indeed.
Trailblazers.
It is that. It is correct. Yes, you nailed that. Good job. You're listening to me. Yeah, the Portland Trailblazers beat them 121-119. The Thunder are a 3-pointer away against the Trailblazers from being undefeated on the season.
Yeah.
They're that good.
Well, they almost lost the one down in Phoenix last night, 138-89.
Close one. I bet they feel really lucky to get out of there with a win.
The Jazz are hitting up the social media of the Phoenix Suns with the James Franco meme, or with the noose around the neck. First time? Yeah, because it's going to happen all year long to all these teams.
The scores of their last 3 games. 132 to 111 over Dallas. 131-101 over the Jazz. 138 to 89 over the Suns. This team is so good. It's not even fair.
Is SGA playing now too?
He played last night. He was back. He did not play against the Jazz. Sat that game out. He did play again in the blowout last night.
You know what's hard to look at? The NBA Cup court. Well, really, at any stadium.
They're all gross.
But the Oklahoma City one's actually really hard.
Yeah.
Or is that Phoenix? I can't tell which one that is.
They played at home last night.
Yeah, because it
was in Oklahoma City last night.
But and it says Oklahoma City massively in the middle of the court. But it is blue, a la Boise State almost. Boy, we're trying too hard on these.
Yeah, it's bad.
We're trying too hard on these courts. That's your other bad of the day is how bad these. Hey, but I know that you've been following the NBA Cup. Will you just give me the beats on some of the particulars on who's still in this thing? Because I know you've been following it pretty closely. What are they in? The quarters? The semis? The semifinals are in Vegas, right?
Are they still?
Yeah. Because it says they punched their ticket to Las Vegas. So that's the only team I know that's in it. Anyway.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But JJ, has a team ever swept the NBA Cup and win the...
We're about to find out. So the semifinals are on December 13th. To answer your question, the Magic and the Knicks are playing in one semifinal. The Thunder and Spurs are playing in another. The championship game is in Vegas. The championship game.
Oh, well, they said that they punched their ticket to Vegas. So I guess... I thought that it was the semis.
We really need to... Oh, no, it is. It is the semis. Sorry. It is. Yes.
Either way.
Both semifinals and the final are in Vegas.
Splitting hairs on a tournament that sucks.
That nobody cares about.
Okay, we'll take another break here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.